station, ladies and gentlemen. I seem to have gotten stuck. I keep trying to get us out of here. For anyone who paid with cash and would like a day pass, just come and see me. It's moving.
Walkley and Jasper. Walkley A. Jasper.
I did? I did?
I thank you all for your patience. Hey, that's a lot of work.
Well, you know what it was? There was a big chunk of like icy shit that was perfectly on this side.
Well, that doesn't help anything.
So go side to side, we not get loose.
I wish I would talk about I'm gonna keep the sucker loose.
$8 a.m. radio show on CKCU, so I'm leaving, what am I? I'll probably be there an hour early. We'll see, at best.
That's not a bad idea today. A day like this is like, you know what, who cares if you're there early, you're there. Same thing for me, man. I mean, I got to work and I was, 35 minutes early to even have to call for my bus, let alone start the run.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know how long it was going to take me to get from Canada to Industrial.
Exactly.
I was not in the mood to find it the hard way. Especially this kind of crap.
Yeah, you live here long enough and you realize...
Well, I grew up in rural Nova Scotia, man.
Yeah.
Like, this is where you learn to drive in snow.
Yeah, I bet.
6 inches on the ground in blizzard conditions and you're still going through your school.
Yeah. Wow, look at all the snow. Crazy thing is, the last time I was here and it was snowing like this, I wasn't going to the radio station. I was going over here. I was working for a third-party contractor of Carleton, and I did a 17.5-hour shift shoveling snow, cleaning all the walkways and salting all around the station. Well, not the station, the university. It was absolutely horrible. I think this was 2016, 2017, something like that. For that 17-hour shift, after taxes, I got $145. Yeah. It was pretty dreadful. I'm glad to be back here in the snow, not shoveling the snow. Because, yeah. Radio station doesn't take a snow day. On a snow day especially, people will be listening to the radio or watching TV and stuff like that. So I am here a full hour early, which is good.
Much better to be early than late. It's totally empty. Not a single other person.
The BBC World Service News is sponsored in part by you, the listener. This is listener-supported radio. CKCU 93.1 FM.
Welcome to Monday's special blend for today, the 4th of December, 2023. I'm your host today, Nathaniel Newton, and joining me here in studio is Barb Gray. Maria, unfortunately, her dentist keeps scheduling her for appointments on Monday morning, so she can't make it to even talk to us on the phone today. But she sent me a message and let me know that her cornea transplant has gone perfectly. She's preparing still for the hip transplant, and we definitely look forward to hearing from her again soon. Before I continue, I do want to remember that we are on the unceded traditional territory of the Algonquin Nation, here broadcasting from the CKCU radio studio at Carleton University. How are you doing today, Barb? It's good to see you.
Good morning.
You made it in today with the weather today. Oh boy, it's the first winter storm, reminding us that we do in fact live in Canada.
It's quite beautiful, very Christmassy.
Oh, it's so beautiful. That's one of my favorite things about winter storms like this, is just the way that all of the trees and the forest and everything looks like it's covered in a white blanket. Everything looks fresh and crisp. It's so quiet outside from all of the fresh snowfall. The air is clean, and snow is actually one of the best ways to clean the air because of all of the surface area on all the flakes of snow. It traps a lot of the dust and pollution and stuff that us humans make.
You mentioned your bus got stuck this morning.
Yes, I was on one of those double-decker buses, and he pulled in a little bit too close to the curb into a pile of snow to help people get on without having to walk through the snow, and well, he was stuck there. It took him about 5 to 8 minutes to get loose, and I got to the next station just in time for me to catch the number 2 and honk the horn at the number 2 to yell at him to wait for me. And I really appreciate the bus driver today. It's a difficult job, especially in weather like today.
And he didn't ask you to get out and help push the bus to relieve it?
Somebody actually mentioned that downstairs. I was up on the top and I heard them saying, "Oh, do you need us to get out and push?" And he laughs with his big heartfelt laugh. He's like, "Oh, if only that was how it was that easy. If only that would work like that." He said he's grew up in rural Nova Scotia, so he's used to snowfall like this, and that it just reminds him of his childhood, getting ready for school in the morning and a giant snow day, but you still got to go to school. Speaking of the storm, we do have a winter weather travel advisory in effect this morning, so if you can at all, stay home. If you do have to go out, give yourself a good half an hour to an hour of extra time, because while the snow plows and the snow clearing people are out in full force and have been all night, it's difficult to keep up with accumulations and heavy snow. We're supposed to be getting total accumulation of anywhere from 10 to 15 centimeters, and then the snow is forecast to slowly taper off today with additional snowfall amounts of 5 centimeters. So be prepared. If you don't have your snow tires on, maybe you should just stay home today. It's not a good day to be out without snow tires. Well, I don't know if you remember, last week I was talking with people from the Save Hunt Club Forest Group. Well, unfortunately, right after I got off the air, I heard that they had started cutting the trees at Hunt Club Forest. Just before, 2 days before that, I had walked in the forest there, and it was such a beautiful walk. You can hear a little bit of the sound there of me walking with the trees. You can hear the wind in the trees. Listen to that. I'm actually walking there right on the edge of the pine forest and the natural boreal forest, because it is a plantation of red pine that's been there for about 40 or 50 years. I think actually they said it was 65 years. We looked at some of the satellite footage and you could see that it's been there for quite a while, since before we really started developing the area. And just as we finished the show last week, I got a message on Facebook saying that everybody that can make it there, hurry, the emergency, they're bringing in all of the tree cutting equipment. There's what I determined afterwards, it's a feller buncher. It's one of those big, like a hydraulic, kind of like a hydraulic shovel, but on the end of it, instead of having a shovel, it's got a gripper and a gigantic saw blade that reminded me of going through some of the zombie areas in Half-Life 2. It's bigger than that, like a giant saw blade, and you could hear it just spinning up. It sounded like, not quite like an airplane taking off, but something like that. So I got there about 9:30, 9:45 in the morning, because I left here, the radio station, and went directly over to the forest and started live streaming with my new camera. And I was able to get some of the activists talking to CBC and CTV, and I'm going to play a bit of a clip from that, and we'll see what you guys think of that.
So maybe you can just tell me a bit why you're here, when you heard the news. Yeah.
So I'm here with Save Mountain Forest.
Look at me.
We're here with Save
There is a bit of
Forest. We've been out here for 2.5 years trying to save this forest behind me, this red pine plantation. The airport authority, Mark LaRoche, the CEO, is in charge of this forest. It's federally owned land. It's Crown land, so it should be public land. Mark LaRoche is saying it's dangerous for the public, but we have proof. We have professional foresters that are speaking out against him, saying this forest is not dangerous. So we are here to witness now. They're murdering these healthy trees that is being used by the community for the past 50 years.
And can you just tell me about maybe just your morning? Like, did you just hear that the machines were down here? Like, how did your morning transpire?
Well, actually, I got a call from my friend who is part of the group. I was actually grocery shopping, so I paid for my groceries. I came home as soon as I heard it. I came out here immediately, and we're here to witness this atrocity, to put it out there for the public. I really appreciate you guys being here to let everyone know what is happening here and this horrible thing that's happening, and that must be stopped. We need Pablo Rodriguez. We need the Minister of Transport to step up and change the mandate that they signed in 1997 with the airport to allow them to cut these trees. We are in the middle of a climate crisis. The community uses these trees.
May I ask, like, are you surprised? I've been following our coverage of this story, but are you surprised at all at maybe how quickly the machines are here? Like, we wrote a story on Friday about how some of the people quoted said, no, we didn't actually say this. We didn't say take down all the trees. We might have said, like, thin it out maybe. But anyway, you probably saw that story. But now, on Monday, we're here. Was that timeline surprising to you?
Well, we've been out here for almost 3 years, so we've been expecting this, but we are surprised, and we're very upset about this. But at the same time, we knew this was coming, and we knew they would come out quickly because they knew there was so much opposition to this cutting, to this culling. So they are out here first thing Monday morning. Everyone is at work, and they want to sneak up with the radar so that they can get it cut before we have proof. So we're not surprised. We are, because we're very upset. We were hoping that the right thing would be done to be protected, but we're not surprised because we have been expecting this from Mark LaRoche. It's very disappointing. He hasn't met with the community at all to discuss their plan. So yes, we're shocked, but at the same time, we knew this was going to come eventually.
Yeah. You spoke a few times about just coming to witness. I think I just heard you say to the officer, you're not planning on necessarily obstructing being done. Do you want to speak about it?
I didn't have my voice
viruses, these horrible things that are happening, so that maybe in the future they won't happen again. Maybe we can learn from these things. Maybe the next forest can be saved. We have to think about the future. We would love to go and throw ourselves in front of these trucks to save these trees, but we cannot. So we will be here and we will stand with these trees. I'm sorry, I'm emotional. We've been out here for a few years. But yes, we will stand with these trees to the very end. We love these trees. We love our community. I have an 8-year-old son who plays in this forest. If it was dangerous, I wouldn't let him play in this forest. And so this is very important to the community, to the world. I always say, act locally, think locally. And that's a very important thing in this world right now. If we try to save every local forest, if every neighborhood saved one tree even, and across the whole world, we could save the environment, we could save the world, we could stop the cutting of trees. We need to stop it immediately because we need trees to live.
Are there next steps? Anything else that you feel that you're hoping to do? I know this is not the only one.
No, well actually I don't know if anything is going to happen, but we've been trying to get in touch with an environmental lawyer even just to stall. So we don't know what's going to happen with that. We don't have any money. We don't have any money right now to pay for a lawyer. If there's any environmental lawyers out there who can work for free, who can come out here and put a stop to this atrocity, we need all the help we can get now. Anybody listening out there, call Pablo Rodriguez. Call your local MP. Call Mark Rush. We want his line ringing off the hook with people saying that this is not right. You cannot kill healthy trees during a climate crisis. Especially with people's mental health the way it is and our physical health, we need trees in this world right now. And there is no reason to cut down these trees. No reason, absolutely. There's absolutely no reason.
Might be a bit of an obvious question, but just after years of fighting, how does it feel to be here this morning?
I feel gratitude for the group that I've come to know very well. I feel like my heart is being ripped out. These trees are so important to us. I feel, so I'm very upset, but I'm also very happy that we're getting this attention, and I'm very happy that I have this wonderful group of people. We have an amazing community. We had an online petition. Almost 22,000 people signed this petition to save this forest. We have well over 1,000 people in our Facebook group. So I am glad I'm here representing these people. I am proud of everything we've done, no matter what happens today. We have done everything we can do to save these trees. So I feel so many emotions right now. It's a very hard day, but I'm glad to be here, and I'm really happy that you guys are here to record this. I'm glad I have the group here. So, yes.
Well, I'm going to cut it out there. Unfortunately, I neglected to bring my windproof mic with me that day, and I heard was just such short notice, I didn't have time to go home and grab it. If you'd like, the whole 2-hour-long live stream is available on my YouTube channel. If you go to ckcufm.com and look at the playlist for Monday Special Blend, you'll be able to see all the links to any videos or live streams that I talk about on the air. So, after that, on a little bit more of a exciting note, I was at BayView Station over the weekend, and I saw that they are running the test trains up and down Line 2 that has been out of service since, what was that, early 2020 or 2020, 2019, something like that. It's been so long I can't really remember. But I am so looking forward to having the train back and no more number 2 north-southbound replacement bus. I mean, I like the double-decker buses, they're fun to ride on, but they're definitely not as efficient as even the diesel train that we'll be getting. So, I made a little video of the train running. I even went around the Rideau Street and stuff like that, because I've been experimenting with the new camera and recorded some of the trains and actually Rideau Street it's not the happiest place right now, especially considering it's winter time and there's a lot of issues with unhoused people and mental health issues. And you walk down the street and you go into the construction corridors, I'm going to call them, where there's lights, but in one of them it's completely dark, and down the middle of it there's somebody living in a tent right on the side of Rideau Street. It's got to be so noisy there, living in a tent on the side of the street. I'm so thankful for the shelters here, but they have so much work. They're working so hard. They're probably underfunded. I'm gonna have to talk to somebody from there and see how they're doing. Just what can we do to help? Because some of you may know I was at the Ottawa Mission Shelter in January of last year for a few weeks because I was between houses and I needed a place to stay. So we do have a lot of needs here in the city, and coming up soon we're going to be chatting with somebody who has done some to help with the food insecurity and community building here in the city. Tom Marcantonio. I'm going to be talking with him in the near future. In the next 10-15 minutes or so, we'll have a conversation with him. And another thing we did over the weekend was we went to McGuires in Hunt Club. We did a live stream for Canadian Spaces, and I'm going to play a little bit of music that we broadcast live on the radio from McGuires while I get our guest on the phone. So this is Side Eye and Grace, who is that's a trio. Actually, there's four, but the fourth person wasn't able to make it. That's Kyle Jordan, Erik Johnson-Sherger, and Garrett Warner, who were there at the breakfast radio, we're calling it, because you can go there, you can have your breakfast and enjoy live music. So this is what it sounded like at the pub. A little bit short of breath. I gotta work on breath work and talking.
So they have live music over breakfast every day, or just weekends, or just special occasions?
Canadian Spaces does live broadcasts every
Saturdays, yeah.
Not every Saturday, but they're doing it like 4 or 5 times a year right now.
Oh, it used to be every Saturday with McKinley. What's his name? Chopper. And I thought Chris was taking over, but it's a big commitment.
Did Chopper do lives on location shows?
I don't think so, just from here. I think he did interviews, so I can't remember. Because I'm sad to say I don't listen to CKCU very often. I've got a box of some tapes of some of my recordings here.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can do anything with them.
I don't have a tape player at the moment. I've had them before, but not currently.
I don't know if the station would want them, you know. I got rid of a lot, but I've just got a few in a box. So what is this group called?
Side Eye and Grace.
It's interesting music.
It's 2 guitars and a violin.
They work well together, my word.
So I'm there with my camera with the mics on it, and well, not the mics on it. I use the mic off the board, and I use a mic, a room mic that I set up, so that you can hear people clapping and shouting and being happy at the same time as the music. And I hook that into my camera, live stream that to YouTube, and then somebody here brings up my YouTube video and plays it on the radio.
Super. To admire you, the way you're doing all this stuff.
Alright, I'm going to call the person now.
A little bit of Irish Celtic there.
Yeah.
Sounds like they improvise a lot. They must know each other well.
It's mad at me for dialing the 1. Hi, is this Tom? Hi, it's Nathaniel calling you from Monday Special Blend for the interview. Alright, so right now I'm playing a song that will be done in about, double check here, about 5-6 minutes. So if you don't mind, I'm going to patch you into the board, and then when I fade out the song, I'll have a conversation with you about the community ovens and everything you're doing with Just Food Farms and everything like that. Awesome. Alright, I'll connect you into the board so you'll be able to hear the on-air sound, but nobody will hear you until I say hi. The current time is 28:40 or 28:25. 9, 30, 21, 32, 43. Only off by a few seconds.
Oh, okay, so it's the 4th today.
Indeed it is.
Right, let's hope that I've got the calendar right on this thing. CBC had a big mashup of Christmas songs for people to guess what they were. It's about 10, I think. And he doesn't give too much of each one, so it's would be hard to write it and think of the next one, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Would be best to record it and then listen at your leisure. Because I recognised most of them, but he did put a few tricky ones in, he said. I wonder if 101 is just playing or streaming Christmas music again this year. It did last year. Sometimes I just put it on my car and just leave it for the Christmas period. This certainly makes you stop and relax, this music.
I was thinking of doing, this guy that my interview was talking about wanting to broadcast Canadian Spaces live from the Just Food Farms next March. That'll be fun. That was Side-Eye and Grace live at Moose McGuires Hunt Club for Canadian Spaces on Saturday. Like I mentioned, if you go to the playlist, you can see the link for the video to see the full performance, and it was a lot of fun. So somebody that was there and is now on the radio with us today via telephone, Tom Marcantonio. How are you doing, Tom?
Very well. Haven't been out shoveling yet, but it's on the horizon.
Well, hopefully the longer you wait, the more will melt and the less you'll have to shovel, but we'll see how it goes today.
Yeah, it's quite pretty out anyway.
Yes, it's beautiful. So, I was reading some of the notes that I got from Chris here, and he says that you're part of the community in that you are organizing these things called community ovens. I actually walked by one last winter at the Bayshore, over next to the Bayshore Mall, and I thought it was such an amazing idea, but I was wondering the logistics of how does that work? How do you use an oven like that, and what gave you the idea to do something like that?
Well, it was really a community idea that I got brought in on back in about 2013. The oven was built in 2014, and we've had a bake oven in our backyard, a small one, since 1992, because it's just a great way to prepare food, and especially pizza. So the idea came from the Bayshore community, and there was a program in the city. What was it called? Better Communities or something like that. And each community could apply for $25,000 to do something in their community, like a ward that they thought would improve conditions for the people in that neighborhood. So the people in Bayshore area thought of an oven, and I had quite a bit of experience by that time, and we ended up winning that grant, and the oven was built in 2014. And we've had many requests from basically all over the city and even out as far as Carleton Place on so how did you do it, why did you do it, how do you manage it, and so on. So it's a pretty long story, but the basic thing is to have a really committed group of individuals that live nearby to sort of shepherd the project and make sure that the oven gets used, that the knowledge on how to use it and the elements needed to operate it are all taken care of. So you need a wood shed, you need to get a source of wood, you need a bunch of different tools to prepare the wood and to operate the oven. It's really not that difficult. There's lots of people who love fire and food, and if those two things are important, a community can do it. There's plenty of bake ovens around North America. A lot of them are mobile now, and I know a local restaurant here has a mobile oven that they'll send out to any sort of events that you want. But in Bayshore particularly, it's really been successful because of a small group of really committed individuals that were able to basically come by every 2 weeks in the summer and host an event. We've had as many as 300 people sample pizzas one day. Wow. We had as many as 72 kids make their own pizzas on our first kids pizza day, but that was way too many.
I'm gonna say it's a big park, but that's a lot of kids making a lot of pizzas.
Yeah, so we've cut that down to 32, and neighborhood partners are really important. So one of our big partners is the Pinecrest Queensway Community Health Center.
Okay, yeah.
So they basically fund the dough, cheese, and tomato sauce for the kids' free pizzas days. So once a month, we have, kids can make their own pizzas. And we do try to, teach them, the four key ingredients of it. And some of these kids have been with us since 2014, and they're quite accomplished bakers now. We have annual harvest fair where we have contests, and it's really a wonderful thing to build a little part of a community around. It's not the only thing. At Bayshore, it really is an extension of the community garden there.
Yeah, I'm looking at a picture of the garden on my screen right now. It's some raised garden beds, and I was walking through there by the ice rink. It would be early in the spring, still a little bit of a winter this year. And I noticed the oven. I'd never really seen a community oven before. And it really struck me as a cool idea, but I didn't really know much about it, and I didn't look much into it later until I was talking to Chris a couple of days ago about it, and I was really interested. I'm happy that you're here to tell us about it.
If CKCU were interested in doing a remote, you could do a remote from there one day. CBC did a whole, they do their Saturday morning show with Giacomo Panico.
Okay.
And they did a whole 3-hour session from there one morning last summer.
That's a great idea. I've been definitely interested in doing more live remotes. Chris said you were there at the Moose McGuires Saturday. I don't think I saw you, but really know who you were.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
I think Chris said that you were at the Moose McGuires the Canadian Spaces show on Saturday.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, I've been getting into old-time music, and I hadn't ever heard of the Pagan Dames before, but I knew two of the musicians, and it was really a wonderful day.
Oh yeah, I don't think I really knew any of them right off the top of my head, but I was really happy to see that. I like the Side Eye and Grace. I just played a little bit of music from them from that actual show. But speaking of the live remotes, that's a live remote we did, and I was the guy that hooked up the live feed for that. So I'd be very interested in doing a live remote at the community garden sometime. Maybe when it's a little bit more green out.
I mean, there's plenty. Okay, so the last few years I've been getting into old-time music, and I'm a real big fan of growing your own food and helping others grow their own food. And the old-time music just seems to be a really, really complementary genre of music to that whole idea.
Growing your own food is really important. I know I've been almost 6 months trying to keep a bunch of kale plants alive in my basement. It hasn't been going as well, but they're not dead. But
yeah, well, if you're interested in inside growing, we should talk a little bit offline about that. I've been doing it for over 40 years, and I build grow lamp systems.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to talk about that. I heard you work a bit with the Just Food Farms. I was over there a few months ago when it was still in the middle of the summer. So I've been hanging out with the Just Food people since 2009, and the original relationship was basically about trying to get a community garden in our community because we didn't have one. And Just Food has a number of different program streams, one of which is the Community Gardening Network. And I think when we started in 2009, we had 50 community gardens in Ottawa, and now I believe we're over 100. And you can imagine, many of the gardens have expanded over the time too. So, if we were growing, 5,000 pounds of food back then, we're probably growing 25,000 now. And they have another program called Savor Ottawa, where they sort of certify restaurants who buy a certain amount of their food from the local farmers. And then they have a farmer program, a new farmer program where they will have, you can rent some land and get knowledge from the organizers there. And I don't know the exact amounts, but it's a 3-year program where if you decide that you want to learn all this, you can get more and more land every year. And they have they have a number of events, a number of workshops, and they've been increasing all their facilities there. They have, they refurbished the barn and put some heat in it because it was really cold. And they built some greenhouses, and they have, Just Food is now taken over the management of CD Saturday, which is always the first Saturday in March at the Ron Colba Center. Okay.
At Britannia Park.
Yeah, I'm familiar with it. Yeah, Chris was saying that we might be interested to do a live show from there on the CD Saturday coming up. Yeah,
that would be a cool thing to do. We had, so I think it's been 3 seasons now that sort of the old-time music jammers have been going to the spring and fall events at Just Food Farm and, providing some background fiddle and banjo music. And, we did that at CD Saturday last year, and it was really well received. So I think we have an open invite to keep going back.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to keep in touch with community food and a lot of the issues with food insecurity and new refugees and people coming to the city. We definitely need to, I would say, pull together as a community and make sure that no one's going hungry. And I feel like that's a really important thing that we need to put more effort into.
In that sort of vein, back in about 2014, I came across a group in New England that had set a goal of growing 50% of their food in the local region by 2050. So I started a Facebook page called 50 by 50 Ottawa. And, just as a place, it's basically an idea. It's, we can grow more food here, either in our backyards, in our parks, churches, and we can support local farmers. to grow more food. But one of the key problems, and every politician who's wanted my vote since 2014 has had to sort of listen to a couple of different stories, but one of them is we need to start measuring how much food we grow in our region here. And the region is basically, what is easy to be distributed. So if somebody has a farm up in Arnprior, I consider that to be our region. Wakefield would be our region. But we're not measuring, so we don't know if we're making progress. And then also we have to decide, what are we going to measure? Are we going to measure the poundage of the food, the nutrient content, or the, the monetary value? But, until we start measuring things, we're not going to know if we're making progress.
I think nutrient value might be the best one there, because if you do poundage, then there's ways to make that inflated, and if you do monetary value, then it's whatever's the biggest cash crop, which might not necessarily be good for people. I don't know, just my quick thought on that.
Yeah, and there's a couple of projects that I have in mind that are really sort of stalled, but they're quite ambitious urban farming projects, and if you're not somebody with deep pockets, the city doesn't really want to talk to you.
Hey, well, ambition is good. If you don't shoot for the moon, you'll never get there.
Yeah. Well, these are these projects are sort of like light years.
I like that analogy. It's definitely send me anything you're interested in promoting or in getting off the ground, and I'll definitely see if there's anything I can do to help about that. I was reading through, skimming through a document that you wrote in 2000, and it mentioned a song by Lynn Miles, What If You Were a Refugee? And I was wondering if you think that might be suitable to play now.
Well, I think it's always suitable to play.
Yeah, especially right now, we're going to be having more refugees, and we need to be refugee-oriented and be aware of the effects that are happening globally, and do our best to make life better for people.
Probably this project that I think is light years away, that I think there's less than a 20% chance of happening, that hasn't deterred me from continuing to promote it, is south of our community garden there's a couple of acres where I've been promoting the idea of an urban village, urban farm, with modest-sized housing. So I believe what is a pretty unique way of modified timber framing, where you build a 20 by 16 sort of story and a half structure, and they can be linked together. And I believe a 16 by 20 with a loft, can accommodate a family of 3. And two of them together could accommodate, quite a much larger family. And this could all be done with local materials. And we could do it off grid. We could drill wells, and we could have a real sort of pioneering effort. And even if it failed, the lessons we would learn would be, really wonderful. There's a number of articles. If one goes searching, one can find out the negative mental health impacts of living above 6 floors in a tower. So that's one thing that really shocked me about 10 years ago when I first read that. And
I know when the power's out, it can be a negative health. Well, and it can be good for your cardio. I lived at the 11th floor.
One cute story I heard,
the
6-story limit was over in Britain when, Mom could toss you down your lunch when you would go out to play before school, and then before you went, you'd come down and she'd toss your lunch from, 1 to 6 stories down. But 7 stories, your lunch wouldn't stay together.
Yeah, it'd be pretty scrambled when I hit the ground. I was on the 11th floor during the power outage after the tornado when we had no power for 5 days, and I can tell you, climbing 11 floors of stairs when you have a dog to take out 3 or 4 times a day, that got old really fast.
Yeah, and I'm pretty strong in my views that luxury condos, we have enough of them now.
Yeah, I agree. Well, it's been wonderful to talk with you. I definitely want to talk to you more in the future and look at some of your ideas. Please send me them by email, and I'll look over them, and we'll see.
And I mean, the other great thing is, once the snow melts in the spring, we bake at the oven the 2nd and 4th Saturdays of every month.
2nd and 4th Saturdays, okay, yeah.
Yeah, and one of them is a free kids bake, and that's a great place to get together.
All right, it's been wonderful chatting with you. We'll definitely talk more in the future, and I want to thank you for being here with us today on CKCU FM.
It's my pleasure.
Talk to you again soon.
Okay, bye.
That was Lynn Miles, What If You Were a Refugee? Now I have Barb here in the studio with me, and we're going to talk a little bit about an exhibition at the National Gallery. Hey, Barb.
Hi. The name of this exhibition is called Nixikwak, and it's entitled Humor and Horror. And there's over 100 artworks, books, sculptures, drawings, and paintings from the late 1960s until the artist's death in 2013. So he's the first generation of artists, Inuit artists, to introduce their visual expressions to the world. He connects with people in unexpected ways, earthly and unearthly, and his talents bridge the cultural divides. One of his books, he wrote 5 books. They were throughout the school system in the North, and one of the titles was A Book of Things You Never See. And he was a storyteller, and the unusual thing is he never gives ending to his stories, and all of his art is about his lived experience. When he became an artist, he began making practical tools, and he has 37 sculptures in the sculpture room. He was a shaman. He reflects shamanism, rituals, transformation in these sculptures that are there to spend time with. They have a lasting effect on your memory if you actually spend time with them. And this artist wants to give you a deep understanding of what it means to be human, to feel sorrow, joy, courage and fear, humor and horror at life and its unexpected and expected events. So humor and horror are the strongest emotions in his work, and it's the relationship between these two emotions that add another layer to his work. There's a film about his life by Jordan Koenig, and the film's entitled Who is Nixikwak, and you can sit and enjoy that film in the exhibition as well. Towards the end of his life, he had a dreamlike quality, an abstract-like work. His later work became sort of a stream of consciousness, and it really is quite an unusual exhibition, and one that you must spend time to see. He actually created the Queen's relay baton for the Commonwealth Games in 1978, and there's one drawing that he did showing a man drinking beside a seal, and the question is, why didn't he hunt the seal for his people? But it's just an example how Nick showed what has been happening to his people in the North. So this exhibition is on at the National Gallery of Canada, and I do encourage you to go and spend time with this wonderful artist. My name's Barb Gray, and I'll be back with more reports on the art next week, on arts. In fact, we have a play at the Great Canadian Theatre Company that I will be discussing with you. Bye for now.
Thanks so much, Barb. And I was actually at the gallery a couple of days ago to see the opening of this exhibition that she's talking about, Horror and Humor with Nixikwak. and I highly, highly recommend it. We're hoping to have a conversation with Christine Lalonde, the curator of the art exhibition, recorded here soon. We were hoping to have her here today, but there's too much stuff happening and we couldn't really get it organized for a live broadcast. But we'll have a recorded interview, or at least a few moments, hopefully next week. Anyway, we are out of time for our show today. I want to thank you so much for being here. I've been your host, Nathaniel Newton, and we're here every Monday morning at 8:05 a.m. This has been Monday Special Blend. Thank you so much for being with us. Bye for now.
I think I covered enough about it.
Oh yeah. Christmas Carol, Scrooge and Marley. Fade out 5 seconds.
CKCU is a public radio station licensed for broadcast at a frequency of 93.1 megahertz of modulating sound waves. If you are within 30 light years of Earth, you may detect independent radio.
I'm not actually sure what's next here.
But it's all sort of pre-recorded.
You're tuned to CKCU 93.1 FM in Ottawa.
The BBC World Service News is sponsored in part by you, the listener.
Yeah, when nothing's happening, it goes to random music recorded into the show.
93.1
recorded
FM.
into the computer. I'm looking here if it says.
This is Danielle Yellow.
Half hour 9:30. I don't think there's anything scheduled.
Israeli military has said its ground operation has begun in southern Gaza following the breakdown of a week-long truce. Hetzi Halevi told